What's up, No Days Off Nation? My name's Caitlin Saunders, and we are so glad you're here with us today. We've welcomed a lot of new No Days Off listeners over the last couple of months, so we wanted to take a few days to reshare some of our most listened to episodes to date. And these ones happen to be some of our fan favorites. We hope you enjoy.
Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that each day brings a new opportunity to get better at business, better at health, better at relationships, just better at life. So let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Today we're going to be discussing what winning the day looks like in business. See, I believe that the key to success is forming habits out of those things that failures just don't like to do. We talked about that in a previous episode. And when I look across the business in which I'm in, the industry in which I'm in, and I ask myself, what don't the failures in my business, what don't they do? And one thing that they do not do, they don't determine what actually winning the day looks like. They don't set a scoreboard or a metric and aim to achieve that or exceed that on a regular basis. In other words, they walk into their day haphazardly. They approach their day haphazardly. They don't necessarily have a plan. And when they look up at the end of the day, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to determine whether they succeeded or they did not. Frankly, if they're not measuring anything, then it's rather subjective. In other words, it is purely emotional around whether they won or lost. It felt like they won or it felt like they lost. Well, what I want to challenge everybody to do today is to think around what it looks like for you to win the day in your respective business. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're in sales, right? If you're in sales, you probably have some sort of annual sales goal. And you could take that annual sales goal and you could probably break it down into what needs to be achieved on a monthly basis. And from there, you could probably break it down to what you have to achieve on a weekly basis. And you could probably take it one step further and say, what do I have to do on a daily basis to ultimately lead to success in terms of my annual goal, right? So if you look at your daily, when you break it down, you look at your daily goal, what metric or metrics must you hit for that day to be successful and put you on the path to achieving your weekly, monthly, and annual goal? In sales, no matter the industry, in sales, which is very much a contact sport, my guess is that you can probably break it down maybe to connections or conversations or contacts. There's some sort of minimal or minimum metric, bottom line granular metric that you know that if you walked into based on your conversion rate historically, you know how many connections you need to make, how many meetings you must have, whatever it may be, you know that number. And if you do it consistently, well, it puts you on the path to success. So what I'm challenging everybody to do just for today, and maybe we build a habit around this, I want you to define your metric. When you look up at the end of the day, how will you know whether you won or lost? What's that scoreboard gonna be for you? In sports, there's a scoreboard, right? You look up at that scoreboard and you know how many points you scored, and you typically know how many points the opponent scored, and whoever's higher won, right? Well, in this particular sport of business, you may not have a competition score on the board, but you have your own, and you're competing against, of course, yourself. So what is that metric? In sales, maybe it is connections, like I said. Maybe if you're in the customer service or operations or administrative side of the business, maybe it's 5-star reviews, or maybe it's completed tasks or percentage completion of some sort of a job or task that you have. Whatever it may be, measure it, define it. And starting today, let's work towards that. And at the end of the day, you're either going to put a W on the board or an L on the board. You either won or you lost. Now, here's my mindset around this. You don't have to win every single day. I'd like for us all to win every single day, but it's pretty damn impossible to win every single day. But what I do want to encourage everybody to do is win the majority of days. And when you win the majority of days, using sports as an analogy, when you win the majority of your game, a large percentage of your games, what happens? Well, you make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs, you have a shot at the championship. So all I want you to do is get yourself into the playoffs and have a fighting chance. If there is 20 business days in a month, if you can win 11, 12, 13, 14 of those days, you're getting in the playoffs. And if you're in the playoffs, you got a shot at the title. That's all I have for you today. No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's go get after it. Thank you.